Avasarai Bhante, we have received 10 reports today. Report number 1. Dear Bhante, nothing to write much about meditation experiences. But I have identified two different minds in most of the time. Deeply there was a calm and peaceful mind, and sometimes another mind came and it was chatting. But it did not disturb the inner peace, and continuously inner peace remained for a long period. Cannot remember inner chatter too. There is no big interest to talk or write. Kindly request more advice, please. Thero Nissarana.
Yes. Okay. We can kind of analyze like this. Basically, there's a kind of an awareness. So that awareness is quite silent. It doesn't have any phenomena, it doesn't have any chattering, so any fluctuations. Kind of a very relaxed, very continuous, still awareness is there. On top of that, we can recognize kind of a chattering going on. Some sort of a disturbances, some fluctuations, all are going on. So, this in a way we can discuss like there is a sort of emptiness experience, and from the emptiness, but there are fluctuations. So in one sense there is a possibility that the emptiness being disturbed, but on the other hand, if you are fairly established in emptiness, so that emptiness is not being disturbed, but fluctuations do happen, but it doesn't have a big influence onto the emptiness. So try to be in emptiness as long as possible. So, these fluctuations we can define in many different ways. Now, probably just to refer one sutta from the Buddha's teaching, there's a beautiful sutta called Cetana Sutta. In the Cetana Sutta, Buddha discusses about two levels of, we can say, kind of mind states, we can say. So one state is called where willfully, intentionally we are thinking. So thinking level. Another level is there that we are not intentionally thinking. We are not purposefully, intentionally thinking, but still some ongoing chattering is there. It's not something that we welcome, but it is there. Another level is that thinking is also not there. Thinking in the sense that intentional thinking is also not there. Inner chattering also not there. But still the latent tendencies are there. Yancha pikkave yancha cheteti, yancha pakappeti, yancha anuseti. Adammana meka noti viññānassa vidya. So this is how they explain. So whenever there is, of course, the willful intentional thinking, so that is a very fertile ground for the consciousness to establish. If not, it is not there, then that pakappeti, that the ongoing chattering kind of a fluctuation in the mind is a fairly fertile ground for the consciousness to establish. If both are not there, still that anusaya, the latent tendencies are enough for us to have a rebirth. So there are several Cetana Suttas, and one thing to understand is that how to facilitate the establishment of consciousness in a way. So the consciousness needs some kind of a willful thinking. That is one possibility. That's the gross level. So if we are able to abandon that, still there's an ongoing chattering. That would be the second level. Even that is not present, then still there could be latent tendencies. That could be the third level. So if these kinds of inner certified states are available, so with the confirm, still the consciousness can establish. As a result of that, the continuity of life can happen. Life in the sense the rebirth can happen. So as we meditate, we may come across some sort of very relaxed, very calm awareness. While dwelling there, we may be experiencing time to time, certain fluctuations going on, mind is thinking, but this calmness is not much disturbed, isn't it? This calmness is not much disturbed. So time to time, you may experience complete calmness. No fluctuations, no disturbances. Complete calmness is there, complete clarity is there. So that may be the best form. That may be the best form of calmness, clarity or silence that we can experience. But time to time, disturbances are possible. Yeah.
Report number 2. Most Venerable Bhante. Primary object, body posture and sensations followed by in and out breath. Attention shifts from nostrils to rising and falling and to occasional sounds and to the feeling of the breeze against the body and occasional random thoughts.
I didn't get it.
Yeah. Primary object, body posture and sensations followed by in and out breath. Attention shifts from nostrils to rising and falling, then to occasional sounds and to the feeling of the breeze against the body and occasional random thoughts. My practice leads to a lot of letting go. However, while nekkhamma increased significantly, I do not get insights into Trilakshana. What am I doing wrong? How do I improve my practice? Please advise. Theruvan Saranai. Much merit to all of you that do.
So I think now we don't need to purposefully we can't in a way. So we can facilitate the insights, but we can't forcefully arouse insights. So you are trying to understand impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, non-self, anicca dukkha anatta. But we can't say we can willfully take that or we can willfully arouse that. So what we can do is develop a amount of mindfulness. As a result of that, we are able to maintain the mind consistently on a given object. So that means the say unified mind, some sort of a concentration. So these are now available. Now that such mind, so fairly mindful, fairly relaxed, fairly calm, fairly quiet, fairly concentrated. So that mind has to be used to observe what's really going on, seeing things as they truly are. So the phenomena will show the impermanence. So that is something endowed. That's the inherent nature of the phenomena. Whatever conditioned phenomena are impermanent, so they will show it to us when we are properly observing it. So what you need to do is not that we are trying to sort of wish that I may see the impermanence or may I see the Trilakshana. It is not the point. Rather develop mindfulness. As we develop mindfulness, the concentration definitely will develop. And with that developed mindfulness and concentration, just observe some sort of a phenomena. Say maybe breathing, maybe rising and falling, or maybe various feelings, maybe various bodily element characteristics, or even the thoughts. So all are conditioned phenomena. So there's a rich area for us to investigate, not just a limited area. There may be practical difficulties to immediately jump to mind. So that's why we are trying first with the body. So various bodily phenomena are there, various element characteristics are there. So we are keeping the attention to the body, trying to recognize these different element characteristics. So as you are continuing in that path, then another level you may start recognizing the Sankata Lakshana. Let me give a little guidance based on Sayadaw Pandita's interesting book. So you can refer that, called Paving the Way. Paving the Way. It is translated to Sinhala by Pandit Ambajiva, called Yogāchara Margopadeshana. So in the Paving the Way book, now how Venerable Sayadaw is explaining, assume now we are doing walking meditation, for example. And first of all, we have to establish mindfulness within the walking body. So various other distractions can happen, but again and again bring your attention to this walking body. It's a walking body now, just walking. In a way, reducing unnecessary distractions and recognizing the walking body. So that is the first stage. That also is an interesting achievement, because typically our mind doesn't stay with the body. So you want to establish within the body. So first of all, walking body is there. And then another level, now you understand, right now, even though it is walking, right now the right foot is touching the ground. Right now the left foot is touching the ground. Right now I am at the end. Right now I am turning. So likewise, even this walking process, there are different instances. So you recognize all that different instances. And then that means we are improving our clear comprehension in a way. And as we are further improving, assume now we are paying attention further to the, say, below the knees. So walking happens, so below the knees you are paying more attention. Then probably you might perceive it like a rolling of a wheel or rowing a boat or pedaling a bicycle. So kind of a continuous process is there. So you perceive it like that. It is not that I am walking at Kalalgoda. It's not that I am walking, rather there's a very simple experience going on, like a rowing a boat, like rolling a wheel, something like that. It's a continuous thing is there. So you simplify your experience, you simplify your perception, because we have so much of unnecessary perceptions. So we are reducing the perceptions, unnecessary perceptions, and we are coming to a very limited, very simple, very direct kind of another simplified experience. Later, now you are very likely to experience the element characteristics. Okay, so I reiterating this many every day, almost like, say the earth element has 6 characteristics: hardness, roughness, or hardness, smoothness, roughness, softness, heaviness, lightness. And then the Thero, the heat element, has the heat and the cold. And then the water element has the fluidity and the cohesion. And then what else? Air element. Air element has the vibrations, movements as its characteristics. So very likely now you are experiencing all these element characteristics. Now experiencing element characteristics is another level of understanding, because now there is no person here, no being here. And you can't remember the time, you can't remember where you are, you can't remember your name. You can only see, you can only experience element characteristics. Now that is another level of understanding. And after that only, so as you continue the path, further and further this information become more and more evident. And then your mind might shift to another level of understanding. Okay, all these different elements are showing some common characteristics. All are arising, changing, or persisting for a while and then passing away. So typically we call it as Sankata Lakhana. Upado Panyayati, Vayo Panyayati, Vidasa Anitatma Panyayati. So as a group, you may understand, okay, so they have the nature to arise, they have the nature to change, and they have the nature to pass away. That's another level of understanding. So as we further continue, then we understand the universal characteristics, anicca, dukkha, anatta, impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and the non-self. But it's a kind of a gradual path, as Sayadaw is explaining. I am not saying that we have to now assume that you are starting and you start feeling the say element characteristics without going through all these different phases. No harm. There is no hard and fast rule that you have to strictly follow this kind of a linear status, but very much like it is possible. So the interesting thing is, now you can't understand the proper impermanence without going through element characteristics. Now say for example, we may say, okay, any person might be born, say 20 years ago, and now he is a young person, and maybe after some time he will pass away, and so everybody is arising. They are born to this world, they spend some time doing this and that, they spend 80 years and they pass away. Arising, changing, pass away. Now this is not real, say at the very fundamental level type of understanding. So this is a very common understanding. Everybody knows this. This impermanence is quite known to everyone. But through Vipassana, so we are trying to go more deeper to the level that we are in a way going more deeper to the say penetrating the concepts. So as a person is a concept, a man is a concept, woman is a concept, Kalalgoda is a concept, this hall is a concept. So we are dealing with concepts. So mind-made, man-made concepts are there. But to see the reality, we have to penetrate the concepts. We have to go beyond the concepts. Then we touch the direct experience. So that is where we are coming across the element characteristics. So once we touch the direct experience, there we can understand the impermanence, how they are arising, changing, pass away. And as it comes to the impermanence more, then it is almost like there is no way, you can't experience much of a persistence, but quickly arising, passing away, something like that. So therefore, don't worry about that you are unable to understand impermanence. Rather prepare the necessary causes. Develop mindfulness, it will definitely develop concentration. Then balance your effort and pay attention to some kind of a process like elements or feelings or the mind itself, and then those phenomena will definitely show you their real nature. So their real nature is impermanent. Their real nature is unsatisfactory. Their real nature is non-self. So that they will show. They keep showing it, but we are not properly seeing it. So it's a matter of understanding that nature by properly adjusting our microscope. So don't worry, just adjust the microscope, then it will show it.
Report number 3. Theruvan Saranai Swamin Wahansa. Today, when doing walking meditation, a thought stroke understanding came that I can't rely on people. With that, the Dajjagga Sutta came to my mind, where the Buddha said that even if a Deva is not enlightened, is not reliable. With the thought that I can't rely on anyone came sadness, but also a relief. A relief that I don't need to please or reach out to people. By the time lunch came, I saw that my mind was more withdrawn from the people, though I interacted as needed.
Okay, don't rely on God. So Dajjagga Sutta is a really good example, yes, very true. And Buddha actually categorically mentioned actually we were discussing on Sundays and Wednesdays the Attadipa Sutta, Attadipa Vikave Nihata Attasarana Ananya Sarana. Dhammadipa Dhamma Sarana Ananya Sarana. Monks, you got to be self-reliant in a way. So you have to keep yourself as the refuge, yourself as an island, nothing else. You got to keep Dhamma as the refuge, Dhamma as the island, nothing else. So that's a very interesting statement. So he has given the responsibility to us. He is not a savior. He is not here to save us. Rather, he is showing us the path, isn't it? So it is our responsibility to walk the path. It's up to us. So and that we are relying on ourselves. So we are using the body, using the mind, trying to understand their true nature by developing these necessary skills. And then we may be able to see what he also has seen, what he has directed us, what he has tried to show us. Then definitely, they will come and help you, or may God bless you. Isn't it? Because they understand, okay, this fellow is going in a different path. Okay, let's come and get some merit from him. So they are in need of merit because nowadays they are running short of merit. Because a lot of people are doing bad things, so they don't have enough merit. Merit count is very less now. So you guys have to work hard to do the proper merit. I mean, typical merit are available, but the fixed deposit is running low. Current account is maybe good. Because nowadays people are not much not that bad even now. Actually, Mother Dhammaji used to say very interestingly, now when he was born and when he was as a youngster, now his parents and his whatever the relatives, they are not known to meditation. During say 50 years ago maybe, 30, 40 years ago, meditation is not that popular. Only a very limited group is known to it, and only they are practicing it. So that's also a very secluded type of a practice. But nowadays people are fairly into it. They are trying. There may be various sort of defects or wrong paths even, but still they are trying. That's a good sign. So there are, when compared to 30-40 years ago, now people are talking about it. Mindfulness has come forward, and even the West is fairly interested in that, and there is a lot of research in that. So there's a good trend in that sense to meditate. So therefore we are not in a bad situation in that sense. But still we have to do it wholeheartedly, and not just for some mundane kind of a benefit, rather to try to get the best benefit, as Buddha pointed out. So then definitely we are doing the best type of a merit in it. So you know that the Vipassana practice is the maximum we can do in terms of the merit making. In terms of merit making, that is the maximum merit Buddha is defined. You can refer Velama Sutta, how Buddha categorized different activities, meritorious activities, how is keeping different activities on the level of the capacity in a way. So if you are practicing honestly, so we are making a very good merit, and so nothing to worry, we continue.
Report number 4. Dear Bhante, sitting. At the beginning, I was unable to focus on primary object on the nostrils, but later able to keep the attention. Mid of the process, few thoughts came and vanished. Felt happiness as all of the unwanted thoughts got vanished. Walking. When walking, I was able to walk attentively, knowing that lifting, moving, placing sensations. Day to day. When having meals, I was able to keep the attention on sitting position. Some metta thoughts pop up towards the Anadayakya. At home, lots of thoughts came about myself. I was dragged towards those thoughts and felt uncomfortable, thinking that it was someone else's mistakes. But after reading Bhante's book at Dana Hall, Yavakalapa Sutta, realized it was all manjana, thoughts about myself led to anger thoughts. Thero Nissarana.
Yes. All manjana. Yes. So, we do a lot of unnecessary thinking, overthinking, proliferation, rumination. All these are the main source of suffering. Nowadays, particularly too much thinking is there. And we assume things, we wrongly understand things, we too much think. All these things are there, ultimately we suffer. But as we practice, so as much as possible, reduce thinking. Reduce proliferation altogether if possible. Proliferation is a huge cause of suffering. So actually certain suttas are there, like Sabya Sutta in the Sutta Nipada. Buddha mentioned proliferation, papancha, is one root cause of suffering. Moolam papancha sankhaya manta asmiti sappam uparundi. So likewise many different Sabya Sutta gives a very different definition. I can't remember the exact verse. So anyway, you can refer there. So where the proliferation is recognized as one type of root cause of suffering, root cause of say disease. Papanchitam vikare rogo, papanchitam galdo, papanchitam salla. Means proliferation is disease, proliferation is ganda, means type of a cancer, kind of a tumor, and papanchitam salla, it's a dart. Same thing with manjana. So you pointed it out. Manjana is something like even more subtle, where we have a kind of a perception, thinking that there is a person here, there is a person there. So very subtle level of imagination in it. So our mind can imagine. So based on imaginations we think, we are tempted to think. So that itself Buddha recognized as a kind of a disease. Manyitam bhikkhave rogo, manyitam gandro, manyitam salla. So manyana, so manyita. So this imagination is kind of a disease, imagination is kind of a tumor, imagination is type of a dart. So ultimately, what to think? So whatever we think has some sort of a demand. So that's the problem. There may be thoughts here, very rarely. You can better help that person. Okay. Not a bad thing. Maybe loving kindness based type of a thought. Very rarely. But if you simply say, okay, I am the one going to help him, still I is there. Isn't it? Still certain showing off may be there, highlighting may be there. So therefore, our thinking is fairly divided. The more we observe our thoughts, more we understand how tricky the mind. We can be ashamed of how the mind is playing in a way. What the kind of tricky way mind is trying to trick us, mind is trying to cheat us. Sort of, Vanchaka Dharma, exactly. Vanchaka Dharma. And sort of endorsing, okay, there is a person, that is you are the one who did the best. Endorsing the existence of a person. That all are avijja, all are ignorance. That's why as we are continuing the path, observing the mind has to be a kind of a habit. And if possible, try to understand how mind is trying to trick us, cheat us. Showing that there is a person here, there is a person there, and all that. So that is how we are used to, that is how we are being brought up. So we are being introduced to the society, telling that I am a person here and you are also a person, this is mother, this is father, this is brother, this is sister, like that. So this is how we are being brought up. So telling, okay, there is no something like that is kind of a contradiction. It's a kind of a radical reflection. But it is not just as a mere reflection that we need to do, that through insight we need to experience it, at least for a while. Then it is fair to emphasize it again and again. Actually, these days we were discussing Girimananda Sutta at Nissarana. So there was a 10 days month retreat and we took Girimananda Sutta as the theme. So there Buddha, in a way, recovered these 10 sanya, 10 perceptions. Because we are used to wrong perceptions. Anicce bhikkave niccanti sanya vipallasu. Dukke bhikkave sukhanti sanya vipallasu. Anatte bhikkave attati sanya vipallasu. So when there is no self, we have the wrong perception as there is a self. When there is suffering, we have the wrong perception as happiness. And when there is impermanence, we have the perception as permanence. Complete distortions are there. Helpless. Yeah. Sorry? Sorry? 9.
If I understand correct, in the Dasasanya Sutta, Gaidavananda Sutta, annihilation of all the 9 sanyas given earlier.
What's that term you are using?
Annihilation.
Annihilation.
Yes, annihilation. That is.
What's that? I can't remember.
That is doing away all the sanyas. Is the 10th one, Anapanasati. Isn't that?
In one sense, we can say there are 9 sanya, 9 perceptions, and the 10th one is very much a way
to get rid of
it, isn't it? And
get
to
rid
realize
of it.
it.
That's it.
So the 9 perceptions are, maybe they are true, they are really correct, they are really important. But to properly experience them, then we have Anapanasati as a mechanism, as a methodology.
That's it.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you.
Report number 5. This has 2 parts, Bhante. I will read separately.
Yeah.
Bhante, When Dhamma discussions are going on, taking down notes on important facts, does it take away the concentration
Repeat.
When Dhamma discussions are going on, taking down notes on important facts, does it take away the concentration on the learnings?
It's up to you. So, I mean, if you are writing down, probably you miss next thing because you are writing something. Or if you are simply listening, you forget what is necessary to write. So that's why you are recording. So we have very short memory, including myself, and so we have the recording. So you can use a device, repeatedly play it, again hear it, and then you can write it also. It's up to you to how to handle it.
Yes, you can access the Kalalgoda web and then NV and under Kalalgoda.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Question number 2. For the beginners of meditation, at times loses focus and some other thoughts start dominating. What should one do under such circumstances?
The same thing, I mean, there is no any special thing. That's where the noting is fairly important, because that's a willful, intentional noting. See, various unnecessary, unwanted thinking is going on. So, how to overcome, how to override it is that we are willfully making a knot. Okay, right now right foot is touching, okay, it is right. Now left foot is touching, okay, it is left. Okay, others say rising and falling, okay, now rising happens. Mind is thinking, okay, rising happens. It's a kind of a diverting our attention, refocusing our attention, giving a different prominence to the mind. Because mind used to think, that is its habit. So what we do is intentionally we name the experience, we label the experience. So that is really helpful. That may be I feel the best option, best solution. So willfully pay attention and then name it, label it, note it. Then thinking becomes little subsided. Because you are not giving prominence, you are not feeding it, but rather you are paying attention to what's going on right now and you are naming it also, labeling it also.
Report number 6. My sitting meditation started okay, but my feet went numb. Then I sat on a chair which made it better. Yet my meditation was disturbed by all sorts of scratching sensations. My mindful eating was good as I focused on the food and feel the silence of the place. In my walking meditation, I felt the peace of the place and the feet touching the sand. However, there were all sorts of different thoughts, some with no relation to the other. Thero and Sarna.
Well, I think there is nothing much to add. So these are quite normal experiences. I mean, sometimes there are thoughts which are talking about the immediate activity that you did just before you were sitting or just before you were walking. Assume that it is not there, then there will be some random thoughts coming and going. So you can't find much relationship there, any relevance there. That is coming because mind used to think. Mind needs something to think. That is the habit. So we are full of wrong habits in it. So mind is full of wrong habits. When there is nothing important to think, there are a lot of stocks available. Huge stock is available, it picks something randomly and then take it and think. So how to empty the stock? So let it think, but we are not paying attention. We are not giving any importance. So then it will die down by itself, run out by itself. Then it will slowly come to you. Because sometimes what happens is when it starts thinking, later we start supporting. I mean, say you have nothing much to think. Mind has selected something random. Now it is going on as a background thinking. At one instance, you also participate. Then what to do? Then we get tangled. But if we are simply distancing ourselves, let the mind think, but I am not supporting, I am not feeding it. So then ultimately it will die by itself, because I am not supporting it, I am not feeding it. So the mind will lose the interest in a way, strength, and it will slowly fade away. Even the background thinking happen, so the background go far away in a way. Previously, very much like we are also thinking, we are participating into thinking, willful, intentional thinking is there, that is complete tanglement. Later we are not tangled, but still thinking going on, but kind of a background, less distance. We are almost there. Time to time we also get caught. Time to time we get caught. But later, as we are growing, so this distance further growing. Now the background thinking happens, but with some weak thinking, weak type of thoughts are there. It can't come and penetrate and disturb the mind. Now we just started our session talking something like that. Right? It is not intentional thinking, it is the kind of background chattering going on. It also has become fairly weak. One day that will also disappear. Then only we experience complete silence.
Do you want to add anything? That was your report. Report number 7. Dear Bhante, in day-to-day life, when I saw discounts given by clothing shops, I was attracted to it. I like to wear nice clothes. I have lot at home also. At one point, I have lot at home also. At one point, I realized these discounts are making us fools, but again got attracted because of greediness. I lost mindfulness at that moment. Even though I bought, I hardly go for parties. How to get rid of these greedy thoughts?
Now we are very tempted and fairly vulnerable in the coming days as the new year approaches. So these merchants know how to cheat the women. So in a way we are free. So I have just one rope to everywhere. That's very interesting. 2 ropes actually. One single rope and a double rope. That's a very interesting way of handling this problem. So have just one to home and one to outside. If possible. Okay, at home just to work hard, that majan kit again. So that just one majan kit. All the work, hard work and the garden work and all that, just one thing. And then go to work and shopping and all that, another thing. Enough, no? I mean, put some restrictions in a way. Because we are unnecessarily spending money in one sense. And again, you are honest very well, and that's why you are exposing this. Otherwise, what happens is we simply carried away by that desires, and we keep buying things and only one time use and then keep it on somewhere, never being used. But the clothes are piling up unnecessary in a way. So we need to understand these kind of mistakes, what we are doing, how we are behaving, how we are unnecessarily spending. And if you are not unnecessarily spending, what we have or what we earn might be even enough for us to live happily. But when we have some overexpending kind of attitude, and we want to show off, we want to highlight ourselves, we want to compete with the others, all are self-making in a way. So as we are continuing, we withdraw from that contest. Isn't it? We withdraw from that contest. I am no more participating to Avadu Kumari contest. Not even to the Avadu Kumara contest. So I am withdrawn from that. No more bullshit. So it's a kind of mature way of living. Okay, I am wearing clothes. So that's what Buddha said. No? So Buddha advised monks. This is a monk's thing anyway. Not a bad thing even for lay people. Parisankaya also Chivaram Patiseva. Yavadeva Sitasa Padigahataya, Unnasa Padigahataya, Dansa Makasa Vakata Sirinsa Sampasana Patigahaya Yavadeva Hirikopina Parichadanata. So basically I am wearing clothes just to protect myself from the heat, from the cold, from the mosquitoes, from different serpents, and just to cover the body, the private parts. That's it. Very interesting. I mean, that was how, the human, the civilization started, right? So when we were starting as human beings, we might be naked, but later we started covering ourselves, and that is covering the private parts become the most important thing. But it also has changed now. The priorities have shifted now. The important thing has forgotten, and now other styles have come forward. What to do?
Report number 8. Dear Sir, most of the months I have spent more money on Pinkang. I really love it. It gives me a lot of pleasure even if I die tomorrow, as it is a big investment for me. I have less money in my bank accounts. My relatives are saying don't spend much on doing merits. Even Lord Buddha has told that you have to spend a portion, within brackets quarter, from your income. I am contemplating Marananusatiya and it gives me the strength to do merits. What is the correct way, Bhante? Theruvan Saranai.
I don't like to discourage you doing merit. That is also something giving us happiness, and that is an innocent way of making us happy. And don't just stick, or rather, limit yourself only to making merit. Making merit in the sense, so you know what I meant, right? So you are making merit, dana and giving and generosity and all that activities are there. So that is not the only way of doing merit. Dana, sila, bhavana. Have you heard about it? Isn't it? Dana is there, being generous and giving to the others and giving to the monks or temples or whatever. Fine, it's good. Don't stop it. But sila is important. You need to maintain good moral conduct and being a moral person. That's very important. And next, maybe the bhavana, so the meditation, preparing the mind, cultivating the mind, developing the mind. That is also very, very important. Therefore, there are 10 meritorious deeds that Buddha mentioned. So pay attention to many of them, not just one thing. So that is where I feel we go wrong. So we limit our making merit only to one small area, not knowing or not paying attention to the other possible areas. There may be other possible areas which doesn't need your money, isn't it? It is not that you have to spend money to make merit. Many other very important merits are there. Doesn't need money. It needs your commitment. It needs very honest involvement. It doesn't make any impact to your financial situation. Even being a very poor person, you can do a lot of merit by turning into fairly spiritual kind of activities. It doesn't need much money in a way. So therefore, try to pay attention to those areas as well, because sometimes we are limiting ourselves, thinking, okay, this is the only way of making merit. It is not. There are many interesting and advanced way of making merit. So that's why I say, let me give some example. Now you can refer, I just reminded that the Velama Sutta. Velama Sutta, so Buddha putting different meritorious deeds in the ascending order. Okay? So he starts with generosity. Okay? You give it to an animal. Say stray dog is there, stray cat is there, you are giving something. Okay, it's also something good, something merit. Then he is saying, okay, you give to a human being, but he is not a virtuous person, he is a bad person, but still you are giving to a human being. So Buddha say, okay, more than giving to an animal, giving to a human being is more meritorious. And then you are giving to a more moral human being. So he is protecting sila, he is maintaining good moral conduct, and you are giving to such a human being, it is more meritorious. And then you are giving to someone who is a noble person, a sotapanna, that is more meritorious. Then you are giving to a sakadagami, more meritorious, anagami, more meritorious, arahant, more meritorious, Pacceka Buddha, more meritorious, Buddha, Samma Sambuddha, more meritorious, Samma Sambuddha and the Sangha, more meritorious. And then you prepare a kuti, more meritorious, for any member of the Sangha. Any member of the Sangha, say you are, commonly, since I am offering to the noble Sangha and you are making say, a kuti, a dwelling place, it's more meritorious. Interesting thing comes now. Then Buddha say, you take refuge. Buddhan saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, more meritorious. You can see, how the way Buddha is putting us. He could have told, more than everything, okay, give it to the Buddha and the Sangha is the best. No, he hasn't told like that. He is putting things in proper order. Now he is telling, okay, honestly taking refuge on the Buddha, taking refuge on the Dhamma, taking refuge on the Sangha. That is more meritorious, more advanced. Now this is not a mere saying, by the way. People are simply on any occasion, every day, every morning, Buddha Saranam Gacchami, blah 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 blah. I can't say it is really making a big merit. It's just a saying. But if we are honestly taking refuge on the Buddha, we have to follow the Buddha. Isn't it? We have to keep the Buddha as my refuge, Buddha as my role model, Buddha as my kind of advisor. So he is the teacher. So I am keeping Buddha as my refuge, Buddha as my advisor. Isn't it? I am not taking anyone else. Now I go for refuge wholeheartedly, Buddha as my teacher. As we are connecting the previous question, nothing else. So less kataragama, less here and there. Okay, Buddha is my teacher. Why don't we have such a backbone in a way? Taking Buddha as my refuge, isn't it? So we lose that capacity. As Buddhists, we have to be ashamed. So why can't we wholeheartedly take Buddha as the refuge? Why are we always looking at this and that on all different Devalaya and Kapua and all that nonsense? So we taking wholeheartedly, Buddha is my refuge, Dhamma is the refuge, Sangha is the refuge. And then the next level, Buddha say, you start observing precepts. Anatipata Vedamani Sikkhapadan Samadhyami. Now on I am not intentionally killing. Now on I am not intentionally stealing. Now on I am not intentionally making any sexual misconduct. Now on I am not intentionally lying. Now on I am not intentionally taking any intoxicant. 5 precepts. More meritorious. And then Buddha is further telling, okay, you practice samatha meditation, practice metta meditation. He's taking metta as the example. Okay, even a snap of a finger, you spread metta, that is more meritorious. Then he comes to the Vipassana, snap of a finger, you practice impermanence. So you understand the impermanence. You can't do it immediately. Having a perception is possible, but to develop mindfulness, properly concentrate and see the impermanence is difficult, but that is more meritorious. He ends there. So you can see how the path being showed in Velama Sutta, and a good example for everyone, and how to make merit in a strong way. Yeah.
Report number 9. Venerable Swami Vahansa, with kindness towards us, please explain in detail. Not me, not mine, not my Atmaya. Mama nove, mage nove, mage Atmaya nove. Theruvan Sarana.
So actually, in one sense, you can develop it as a perception, anatta sanya. That may be the beginning. Anatta sanya, I mean, it is not me, it is not mine, it is not myself. So typically what we have is a atta sanya. So I represent as a person, I am a monk, and you are lay people, and so like that. This is the typical conventional way that we are representing. That is also respected. It's no argument. But in a deep way, so you try to realize, okay, there is something called anatta, impersonal, non-self. So, but not as a mere perception. We can't simply limit it to perception. And again, we shouldn't misuse it. So, misusing means, now say you kill an animal. You can't say so. So, you are completely responsible. So, you can't use these very advanced statements, advanced realizations just as an excuse. So, whenever we are intentionally doing anything, so it has some karmic repercussion. That's it. And later, assume now we are practicing Vipassana. So at that level, so you may be experiencing an answer. That is the interesting thing. That is also not immediately. So immediately you can't jump to non-self, skipping impermanence and suffering maybe. Impermanence may be the foundation. Non-self may be outcome of that, we can say. You can refer maybe a sutta where Buddha mentions that anicca sanjino maybe anatta sanya sankhara. Once you well establishing impermanence, you may slowly realize the non-self as self. Because impermanence giving us the kind of the reason why there can't be a self here. For example, you are paying attention to yourself and trying to understand the arising, passing away of various bodily phenomena. Then how can there be a self, unchanging, eternal, everlasting self in this changing phenomena, in any physical phenomena? If all physical phenomena are arising and passing away, there can't be. Then say you are observing various feelings. All feelings are arising and passing away. Then how can there be a self in the feelings? So you are seeing the perceptions, how they come and go. Then how can there be a self in the perceptions? Similarly, you see the thoughts coming and going, arising and passing away. Then how can there be a person, self in the thoughts? Similarly, the consciousness. Through the eye you see, through the ear you are hearing, through the nose you smell, through the tongue you taste, from the body you are experiencing, and through the mind you are thinking. But these are also instantaneous. They also come and go. They also arise and pass away. Then how can there be a person, individual, self there? Now that has to be, you can logically think and have some understanding, no harm. But more you practice, more you realize. Isn't it? So more you realize, then probably, since you have experienced that at least for a while, you have dwelt there experience at least for a while, then you can make use of this statement. When again mind ignorantly go and grasp, when again mind ignorantly start thinking based on the person, then you can use this reminder. This is not me, this is not myself, this is not not mine, something like that. It is not that you again go and quickly meditate and try to dissolve it. Rather, you can make use of this kind of a skillful reminder. It is not me, it is not mine, it is not myself.
Last report number 10. Dear Sir, in day-to-day these days I think a lot about future. What will happen to me in future? As goods prices inflated recently, thinking about the future.
Thinking about the future. Now if you think too much, you end up with anxiety. Because nowadays we are dealing with a very volatile situation. Who knows, on Sunday the gold price may further increase. And we might lose Trincomalee Harbour. I can give you enough reasons to be anxious, isn't it? Now this, no point of thinking like that. I'm just living the present moment because Achinta Tapi Bhavati. So who knows? We can't predict what's going to happen. It's very, very kind of waste of time if we are thinking too much. Thinking in the past or thinking into the future is useless in that sense. I'm not saying not to plan. You can plan if you want to travel somewhere, if you want to do something, if you want to make an investment, you may do a little bit of analysis and do that. That's no harm. But we are living in a vulnerable world. That is not really present day problem. It's the nature. So we have come to this world which is very, very fragile, very, very vulnerable. This is the nature of this world. Welcome to sensual world. So this is the nature. So we are trying to find permanency where there is no permanency. Simple as that. So accept the impermanence, accept the vulnerability, accept the changing nature, then you can adapt to the situation. So why we suffer is because we can't adapt to the situation. We always expect, okay, this has to be like this, isn't it? World price has to be like this. My country has to be like this. These are all assumptions. These are all our preferences. And we can't say the situations are really respecting, acting according to my preferences. There is no such an agreement. And while all these things are happening, what happens if tomorrow Mara come and ask me to go? Okay, that's enough. Let's go. Can you make an agreement? No way. Can you assure that you will live another 40, 50 days, 40, 50 years? We can't give any assurance. So we are planning, many years and prosperity and this and that, all that are there. But we can't even plan next day. We can't give an assurance about the life even the next day. Such a vulnerability is there, such a fragility is there, so that we need to accept and live based on that kind of acceptance. But that doesn't mean that we are crying and being really negative and always worrying, and that is also not the point. So let me give an interesting example. Who is the Apple company, the founder? What's his name? Steve Jobs, right? So his most interesting practice? Maranamsati. Have you heard about it? So Steve Jobs, a millionaire, I think, or billionaire maybe, he also passed away. But interesting lecture is delivering to a university, I think. So there he beautifully mentioned about Maranamsati. So he's telling, okay, I practice like this. We are living in a really volatile world. So business are going up and down, and the life is quite unsure. The political situations are quite vulnerable. So my life is so now I have no time to waste. Isn't it? If we know, okay, only few days is available for me to live. So how well am I going to live? Am I going to waste time in roaming the Facebook, going to the YouTube, watching another movie, going to any war situation, looking at the Iran, Iraq, whatever this war? So is it the best way of spending my time? I have only 7 days. Who knows? Now, any passed away people, have they really know that they quickly pass away on this day? Can't say. They might not be even ready for do that, go through the death, but the Mara came and invited, can't deny. No agreement. So be ready. Be ready to die, in a way. That's it. Very, this is kind of rude to say like that, but that's the reality. That is the reality. So we have to accept this with the reality, and that is the life. So be ready to die at any given moment. So that's why in a way the practice, Vipassana practice is making that preparation. Don't have any grudge towards anybody. Don't have too much of attachment to anything. Be ready to leave things at any time. Simple as that. Okay, 2 o'clock. Are we ready to leave? Yeah.
Not quite.
Okay.
Avasarai Bhante, this is in relation to the previous question about Mama Noe, Mage Noe. So one issue I have is in trying to remind myself of that, then there is a point of my will.
Sorry. Desire. Can you keep like this?
There is the point of my will. So when I'm trying to, remind myself of that, there is the question of, so I'm trying to do something. I'm directing myself. So then there is no me, there is no mind, but there is some direction. So is that also a Paticca thing? Where does it come from?
No, like this. We can't immediately, that's what I was telling, we can't immediately jump to the non-self. At first, we need kind of a direction. We need kind of a motivation. I want to do that. I want to practice mindfulness. I want to practice, say, meditation. I want to maintain morality. So, I is there. So, without that I component, we can't get that urge. Isn't it? We need, as a person, I want to be a good person. Isn't it? I want to practice meditation. So, I want to. Can't help. But later, as you are practicing slowly, continuously, in the Vipassana side, so there are instances that you disappear. Yourself being disappeared, like, isn't it? Assume that you are observing certain process which is quickly arising and passing away. So while you are watching that, you forget about yourself. Who am I? Where am I? What's the time now? All are deleted from the mind. It's not coming there. So you see only arising, passing away of phenomena. That's all. So there, in a way we can say, ignorance is not there temporarily. Ignorance is not there. So the self-making is not there. So the Patissamuppada, that forward cycle is not functioning there. So that part is not functioning there. Instead, kind of a vijja is there. Knowledge, understanding is there. So understanding basically prevents any kind of fabrication. So the understanding, the wisdom basically prevents any kind of fabrication, rather simply observe. Observe the experience. You are not making anything, just observe the experience. So therefore, till we come to that, we need certain kind of motivation, certain kind of direction, ambition. To do this, I want to do it. It's necessary, can't help. So that is actually also accepted in Dhamma. So you can refer one sutta there, Venerable Ananda mentioned that Tanthang Nissaya Tanha Pahatapu. Then Manam Nissaya Manam Pahatapu. You are using the desire, but later even to cut off desire. You are using the conceit, but later you are even cutting off the conceit. So he is giving some beautiful examples. Now he is saying, now with respect to monks, he is giving the example. He is saying, okay, so there is a monk. He get to know that one of his friend has achieved an arahantship. Okay, then he is thinking, okay, if my friend has achieved that, if that particular monk has achieved that, why can't I do that? So it's a kind of a comparison. No? That is the conceit base. Conceit base motivation. Can't help. Then you also want to do it. I want to become an arahant. But as you continue in the path, so there you may understand, okay, now making effort makes me troublesome. Making effort, making another sankhara making another intention is really kind of a bad thing here. I better stop making any intentional activity now. That has to happen on the way, not at the initial level, but on the way that you come to that critical decision. Okay, no more I am making any intentional, willful activity. I just be. That's why we typically used to say, now the meditation turns into just be, not making, not doing. So far we were doing, we were struggling, we were, that we have a schedule, we are strictly following that and we are doing all that. A lot of striving is there. But once we come to that sort of a level, okay, no more striving, just be there, just dwell there. The mind is very calm, very relaxed, no attachment, no grasping. Okay, just be there, just dwell there, relax, something like that. So there are no I making, no mind making, no self making, something like that. You are not there?
So I am that will and that my direction of myself is me making me.
Yeah, true. But don't abandon it immediately. Don't abandon it prematurely. That is a disaster in a way. I mean, if we immediately say, okay, there is no self to protect, there is no self, then who is going to practice? Isn't it? Okay, I think, Radha, do you have anything to contribute after a long time? Nothing? Okay, then we'll wind up the session here and we'll have the Dhamma sermon at 4 p.m. as usual. Everyone's